Welcome to Think Your Way Up with Dr. Jenna, the only space in the world where neuroscience, executive leadership, and purpose-driven principles collide to help you disrupt your dysfunctional thoughts and do life and business better. I'm Dr. Jenna, the friend in your head who will challenge you each week to evict your mental chatter, eliminate your yo-yo thinking, and help you attain the clarity and tools to think up. So let's disrupt the mental chatter together because your next breakthrough starts now. Welcome to Think Your Way Up. Hey, Think Up friend. Welcome back to another episode of Think Your Way Up with Dr. Jenna. And of course, I'm your host, the one who is called to help you think up and create the life and business that you desire. So a few years ago, I went to Essence Festival with my girls and we're walking down Bourbon Street. We are chilling, we're hanging out, and I see her and she sees me. I promise you, I know this is going to sound crazy, but it was love at first sight. She was standing there like on the corner, and when I saw her, I knew that I had to have her. I knew that she was for me and I had to bring her home. So I go up and I ask, like, how much is she? Like, how much does she cost? Because I'm like, she's going on with me. And the gentleman says, $25. I'm like, say less. I want her. So I get her and I named her Mia. Mia was a turtle. You probably thought I was going somewhere else with this. Mia was a turtle. And I'm sitting there getting the instructions for how to care for this turtle. Now, let me pause for a moment because I still ask myself this question. Who in the world goes to New Orleans, goes on Bourbon Street, and buys a turtle? People are buying bottles and drinks and walking down the street, and I buy a turtle. Like, help me understand what I was thinking. And why did my friend let me buy this turtle? I do remember them asking me, like, you're just going to walk around with this turtle? What are you going to do with this turtle? Like, I don't know, but I have to have her. She has to have me. Like, we are going home together. So I get this turtle, and the guy's giving me the instructions for how to care for Mia. And Mia came in this small little tank, and he's like, you need this much water, feed her this this often, change out her water, blah, 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 blah. And he was like, remember, she will grow to the size of her environment. So if you want to keep her small, keep her this. If you want to get bigger, get her bigger tank. So hearing all the instructions, I'm like, yes, yes, yes. I'm just so excited that I'm going to go home. I'm going to take this turtle back to my son, and he's going to be so thrilled to have another pet. So I get Mia, and as life would have it, I get busy. My husband gets busy. My son gets busy. So we are taking care of her, but we are in motion. We are doing the basic level stuff. So we are feeding her how she needs to be fed. We're giving her sunlight, enough sunlight. We're changing out the water. But we get so busy that we forget to enlarge her territory. We forget to get her a bigger tank. So we notice she's getting bigger. It's getting harder. But we're like, okay, we'll get one. Like, we just kept putting it off. And I remember this like it was yesterday. We go to my son's track meet, and we get home, and we go to check on Mia. And Mia has gone to be with the Lord. Mia drowned in her tank. How does an animal that was created and called to be in water, to live in water, to play in water, to thrive in water, how does this animal, this reptile, drown in their environment when they were created and called for such a time like this? So as we began to ponder and have this conversation and think about how do we tell our son, how do we talk to him about Mia has transcended into the heaven, it dawned on me in that moment that what happened to Mia is something that happens to us in different seasons of our life. That if we're not careful, we will only grow to the size of our environment. Because what you are exposed to is what expands you. So let me run this back really quickly because I want to make sure that you get this. Because if you're in a season where you're praying and asking and believing God for more, but that more hasn't come, like you're saying, God, I'm ready for increase, I'm ready for expansion, but your timing and God's timing are not on the same page, then this is for you. If you're a person that's saying, like, I know that I should be further along than where I am, then tap in, boo. This is for you. If you're like, okay, how do I really put my feet and get into the path that God has called me to be, then I definitely want you to tap in. So today, what I want to talk to you about, what I want to share with you is a space that I have found myself in more and more. And that is this notion of how do we build and expand our capacity. What I know is that what you focus on expands. What you are exposed to is often what will expand you or it will expel you. So it's either going to expand you to a space to where you have more, you can do more, you could be more, or what you're exposed to is going to take you out. It's going to expel you. So let's start with this notion of what you expand, or what you focus on and how that expands you. So here's the question I want you to ask yourself. What is in front of me right now? What is taking up my time, my energy, my focus? Most people, it's distractions. Their distractions determine their direction. But the people who win, the 1%, the go-getters, the high performers, the people that you listen to, the people that you watch, the people that you tune into, the people that you admire, the people that you see on the cover of Essence and Forbes and Business Insider and Black Enterprise and all those other publications that their name seems to continue to be called, those people, they don't allow the distractions to determine the direction. Instead, they keep their vision front and center every single day because they know that whatever they focus on will expand them. And they know that they will only grow to the size of their environment. So they keep enlarging, they keep stepping out, they keep taking risks, they keep going into circles and spaces that are bigger than them, that scare them, where nobody knows their name, where they are not the big turtle in the pond, that they're actually the smallest turtle in the pond, because they know that the size of their environment will only grow when they enter an environment that is bigger than them. So I want you to think about in this season where we are confronted with a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week news cycle, when we are confronted with influencers and even thought leaders, even myself, that you have so many different people that are competing for your attention, so many thoughts, so many ideas, so much noise and chatter around you. How do you make sure that you're focusing on the things that are important to you and that you're not allowing your distractions to determine your direction, but instead you're giving those distractions the discipline and discernment that they need so that they can be in their rightful place? So what does that mean, Dr. J? Like, how do we make sure that those distractions, that we're giving them direction and that we're lending our discernment to them so that they're not driving us? That means that if those things, again, are causing you to question, are causing you to doubt, if they are making you feel less certain about your now and your future, then they don't need to be in your space. You got to give them direction. You got to dismiss them. You got to disrupt them. You got to get them out. Because whatever you expand on in this season, it's going to be the thing that's going to help you reach your next level. So if you're expanding on things that are driving you away from your destiny, then you're going to reap those things. But if you're in a space to where you know that my distractions are really overtaking, they are really superseding what's important to me, then you have to determine if that's what direction you need them to take in this season. So if you want to win, you got to keep your vision in front of you. You got to keep putting yourself into spaces and things and places that are going to challenge you, that are going to push you, that are going to propel you. So the first thing I want you to do is to start going into spaces and taking risks that scare you. So this is where I want you to write the pitch, make the call, ask for the sale, go to the networking, go to that marketing event. I want you to go into spaces and places that literally terrify you. I want you to walk into a room where nobody knows who you are. I want you to go into places to where you feel the least qualified in the room. Maybe you're a service-based entrepreneur and you're going to go to a product-based event space. Maybe you are an independent contractor or you're self-employed and you're going to go into a conference where there are CEOs of multi-million and billion-dollar companies and organizations. I want you to put yourself out there and go into spaces that scare you. The second thing is that I want you to see the vision, write it down, and put it every single place you look. From your mirror to your desk, to your phone screen, to your car. I want you to write it down. I want you to see it every single space. One of the things that we would do, and I did this for about 10 years while we were manifesting our house, is that I would drive and walk in the neighborhood where I wanted to live in. And initially the conversation went from, wow, what do these people do to be able to own houses like this? To then, okay, God, I see what you're doing in their life. I know what you're going to do in mine. And the same neighborhoods that we would drive in and that we will walk through is the same neighborhood that we built our custom home last year. But I had to see the vision. I had to write it. I had to see it. I had to speak it every single day, which leads us to the next one, is I want you to speak it out loud every single morning. Your words hold power. What you say is what you bring about. I want you to say it every single day. This is how we play tricks on the mind. Because whatever you speak is what the mind starts to go back and starts to repeat and starts to bring in front of you. So this is how you can trick your mind. You may be feeling less than, unqualified, I can't do something, but you can't say those things. You can't say, I don't know how this is going to happen for me. We don't have enough money. I don't deserve a house. I have too much debt. You can't say those things because then your brain doesn't know the difference. And it's going to start bringing you those things. I don't, I can't, I won't, too much. But if you start saying, God, I see what you're doing for other people. I know this is my time. I know that my seasons are coming. God, I am moving into position. God, prepare my hands and hearts, prepare my mind. You have to speak it every single day, every single morning, because your words truly have power. And then you have to act like it's already yours. One of the things that I teach when I do goal setting workshops is that I don't write the goal like I want to do this. I will have a doctorate. I write things as if it has already happened. I am Dr. Jenna. I am a New York Times bestselling author. I am a multi-million-dollar business owner. I write them as if it's already done and I move like it's already done. Because what I believe is that if I stay focused for long enough, it's already done. It's just time under tension. It's the timing of God and how do I manage and hold the tension of life. So it's time under tension, like they talk about in the gym when you're building muscles. Like if you want your muscles to get bigger and stronger, it's time under tension. It's not about doing a whole bunch of exercises. It's about the time that you spend building that muscle and the level of tension and the stress that you put that muscle under. So if you think about it, your muscle grows when it breaks down to fibers on the inside. So in order for you to build muscle, there's a breaking down that's happening on the inside that you don't even see with the eyes. That's the same thing for life. In order to build up, there's some things that have to be broken internally so that you can be in position to hold the things that God is calling you to hold. So I want you to go into spaces that are bigger than you, that scare you. I want you to see the vision, write it down and put it every single place that you can go. If you got to ride to those neighborhoods, ride through them. If you got to put the picture up of the penthouse suite and post it in your closet while you work it, then you do that. If you have to go to the car dealership and get into the car, smell the leather, feel the car, take it around the block, you do that. But you got to see it. You got to be in the space. You got to feel like it's you got to feel like it's yours. Then you got to speak that thing every single day. Speak it every single day. Act like it's already happened. Act like it's yours. Because if you do it for long enough, it will be yours. And remember that your future isn't a maybe. Stop thinking that it may happen, it may not. It's not a maybe, it's a certainty. It's a certainty. If I do this, this is what will be. If I say this, this is what will happen. If I think this, this is what I will achieve. Your future isn't a maybe, it's a certainty. But you can't lose sight of it. You can't lose sight of what's in front of you. All right? So remember, if you want your capacity to grow, to expand, you got to grow. You got to do the things that scare you. You got to see the things that you don't even believe that's possible. You got to speak those things. You got to act like it's already yours. And you got to know that my future is not a certainty. You got to act like your future isn't a maybe, but it's a certainty. This is what my future looks like. This is what my future will hold. That's how we shift. That's how we create the life that we desire. So I have a question, and let's see who this question is from today. I love it. So this is from Rob, and Rob is from Texas. So it's at Rob. He says, how can I develop mental strength and discipline when motivation runs out? So how can I develop mental strength and discipline when motivation runs out? Rob, thank you so much for writing in. I absolutely love this question because, again, I have lived it. One of the things about me is that you will see if I can't help you, I'm going to connect you with people that can. But because I have such an expansive worldview of struggles and trials and obstacles, I definitely feel qualified and called to help you with this question. So let me take you back to a season of my life when I had no choice but to develop mental strength and discipline. So when I first started my business, I was trying to balance, how do I speak, how do I coach, and how do I just do life? How do I show up and simply serve and do life well? But if I'm honest, I felt like at the time that I was running on empty. The excitement of starting this business, of running this business, of speaking, all the things, it was starting to fade. The late nights and early mornings were catching up on me, and I was making progress, but if I'm honest, it felt very slow. I felt like people around me were going faster, achieving more, doing more, and here I was, almost like a hamster on a wheel, where I was doing the things, but it wasn't taking me anywhere. Like I wasn't going. And I remember one night I was sitting at my desk, and I think I had my last baby because I had 2 babies under 2. And I remember sitting at my desk one night with my daughter, and I was looking at this expansive, never-ending to-do list. And I was like, I don't feel like doing this anymore. I don't feel like doing the list. I don't feel like doing this life. I didn't feel like being a wife, a mom. Like I was just exhausted and burnt out. And this is when I had one of my biggest breakthroughs in life. And I reminded myself that motivation is a feeling, but discipline is a decision. Motivation is a feeling, but discipline is a decision. So instead of relying on motivation, I realized that I needed to really build my mental endurance. I need to build my mental strength and my mental stamina. And this is where that came from. This is why I teach this now. So I said, okay, these are 3 things that I need to do to make sure that I'm building both my mental strength and my mental stamina. So I made a rule. The first rule was my non-negotiable daily habit that I still live by today. Every day I will show up no matter how I feel. My feelings are not facts. They may be real, but they are not factual all the time. So that was my first non-negotiable that I started to make with myself. My commitment to me. Every day I'm going to show up no matter how I feel. Even if I was tired, even if I felt discouraged, overwhelmed, burnout, even if the results were not there yet, I'm going to do at least one thing to move me forward. So this is where my one thing came into play. Some days that meant writing one sentence or one paragraph or talk. Some days it meant sending one email. But I refuse to let a day go by without taking action. So that's the first thing I want you to do. Since you're saying, how can I develop my mental strength and discipline when motivation runs out? You don't need motivation, you need discipline. And that's a daily decision you have to make. So every day you're going to show up no matter what, and you're going to focus on your one thing. The second thing is that I made discipline about my identity and not my feelings. So instead of saying I need to be more disciplined, I started saying I am disciplined. I am focused. I am driven. I am ambitious. Because when you identify as something, your actions will follow. So think about it. A runner may not always feel like running, but they run because that's who they are. Like I can tell you the number of athletes that they may not feel like going to practice. They may not feel like going to the football field and practicing and throwing the football, but that's who they are. So I had to ask myself, who do I need to become to achieve my goals? And the answer was clear. I needed to become the person who showed up every single day, even when I didn't feel like it. I need to become that person. I need to be the person who's going to show up every single day. Rain, sleet, snow. It doesn't matter what it is. I'm going to show up because I am disciplined. It's not that I need to be more disciplined. I am disciplined. These are core values. These are who I am. So I want you to think about who are you? Not your feeling, not the task, but what are the core values as it relates to your identity? And then the last thing that has helped me to move away from this motivation is I started telling myself that the only way that I'm going to build my mental strength is by doing hard things on purpose. Like, instead of waiting until hard things happen in life where I don't have purpose and I don't have control, I'm going to tell myself and do something hard every single day. I'm going to tell myself I can do hard things every single day because it is what it is. So for me, that's waking up every single day, no matter what. I wake up at 4 a.m. and I get to it. From 4 to 6 a.m., I'm at the gym. From 6 to 8, I'm cooking breakfast, getting my kids out the door, coming back home, doing quick tidying. So for me, it's hard. It's hard to get up at 4. I want to sleep in. I want to stay in my bed. I want to stay in under the cover. Like, I want to stay there. But my mental strength and yours is not built in comfort. It's built when you prove to yourself that you can do hard things. And when you start training yourself to push past those discomfort in small ways, then it makes it easier when those bigger moments of life and business happen, then you can push through it because you've built those muscles over time. The worst thing that happens to us, and I see this so many times with clients that I work with, is that we wait until life gets hard and then we start trying to build a muscle. We start trying to train for it. Like, you still can do it, don't get me wrong, but it's much harder to train for a marathon when you're running the marathon. It's easier to train for the marathon weeks out, months out, when you have the nutrition, when you have the recovery, when you have the stretching, when you have the run strategy. It's easier to train for that race before the race gets there versus training for a marathon in and doing a marathon. So remember, your mental strength, it takes time and attention, and you can't build it when you're comfortable. You got to build it over time and prove that you can do hard things. So those 3 things alone have changed my everything, because on the days when my motivation disappeared, we didn't stop moving. If you listen to the first episode of the podcast, told you that I am going through a very hard and challenging time. That's why I'm still here. Not because I have the motivation, not because I feel like it, not because everything looks good, tastes good, and I'm in a great space, but it's because I am building, I am growing, and I know that I'm disciplined. So if you're feeling stuck, and this is not just to my friend Rob, this is to anybody that's listening, don't wait for motivation to come back. Let me save you some time. You can't wait for motivation to come back. It's not going to come back. You just got to build habits that's going to keep you moving forward even when you don't feel like it. Because at the end of the day, it is your discipline that will take you places that motivation never could. So I hope this helps. Let me know. Hit me back. And if you have a question, if you want me to answer your question live in the show, just send us an email. We would love to help you. We would love to support you. Just email the team, info@jennadyson.com, and you may find your question answered on one of our shows. So friends, remember, your final tip as we conclude today's show is that, listen, your mental strength isn't built on comfort. It's not built when things are going well. It's not built when you're getting the yeses and you have the answer and you have the life that you truly desire. Your mental strength is built in those valley moments. Those moments where you're questioning, should you, could you, and how will you? Those moments where you're questioning the gift, where you're questioning the purpose, where you're questioning, did I miss something? Is when you're staring the hard things in the face over and over and over. That's when your mental strength is built. It's built when you start training yourself to push past that discomfort, to push past the tension, to push past the pain, the trials, to step over the obstacles, to step over the hurdles. That's when it's built. And it's easier to build it in those small moments than waiting until the moment comes. Because when you train yourself to push past discomfort in those small ways, it makes it easier to push through in the bigger moments when life and business gets hard. So remember, you can do hard things. I believe in you. Keep building those habits. Keep moving forward. And remember, at the end of the day, discipline will always take you places that motivation never could. I'll see you next week. Thank you for tuning in to Think Your Way Up with Dr. Jenna. I hope today's episode challenged your thinking, shifted your perspective, and gave you the tools to disrupt your mental chatter and step boldly into your greatness. Remember, friend, you're just one thought away from the clarity, confidence, and transformation you deserve. If you love today's episode, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone who needs this message. Let's spread the power of thinking up together. Until next time, keep challenging your limits, evicting your doubts, and creating the life and business you were meant to live. You've got this. I believe in you. See you next week on Think Your Way Up with Dr. Jenna.